All righty, folks, we are going to do an episode called Zuber versus the Doomers. The one and only Tom McKay reached out to me yesterday saying, Zuber, I see you going after the Doomers. You know what? I think you're wrong. I think they're wrong, which of course got my attention. If you don't know who Tom McKay is, you are truly missing out. This is a young man who was investing back in the early 80s. He's been doing it for 4 decades plus. So I got to know, Tom, Zuber versus the Doomers, and we're both wrong. Tell me more.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, but there's some redeeming qualities in what the things that you said. Okay. So, and I'll just go run through it. And why don't you let me share a screen if I can, if you haven't given me the
Please.
share? I think you did.
I did. Yep.
Okay. All right. So look here, I'm going to jump here to your video and where you are noticeably a little bit agitated.
No, no.
Yeah. So look, I'll just set this up. So what I watch Michael, and I have respect for Michael, of course, because he's an investor, and a lot of you guys know I go after the fake gurus, and Mike here is legit. So, but he took what'd you refer that to? The 54-year spreadsheet.
I have a 54-year spreadsheet. I'll show it to you after this so you can reference.
I'll turn this on from here. I'll start you from here. This is where you introduce the 54-year spreadsheet and you run through the 18 years and you're starting in 78. I actually began investing. I dropped out of high school right in 78 or 79. And then I was buying real estate by 81. So I'll go ahead and play this and let's start this for now.
Flat and sideways, but we also have what I call the 53, now 54-year spreadsheet. The 54-year spreadsheet is so valuable because it gives you 54 years of history: housing, stocks, GDP, unemployment, affordability, and so much more. There are 20 to 25 unique metrics with 54 years of data. Not only is that spreadsheet valuable, but it is also sourced. So if you go to the tab, you can click on any of the links and build your own spreadsheet. This data is not mine. It is sourced from things like the St. Louis Fed, from NAR, and many, many other places.
So I'm going to speed you up here.
Trouble for the doomers to read. I know it is too much trouble for you to look into the history books and understand how price elasticity in housing is a real thing. The argument goes, demand falls, prices must fall. Well, to which I ask you, please look up 1978. In 1978, we did 4 million existing home sales. Now I'm going to round. If you pull up the spreadsheet, you will know we went out pretty far on the decimal scale. But for this exercise, we are going to round. We are going to march from 1978 to 1996. For those of you counting at home, that is 18 years. Again, the argument from the doomers and crash pros is demand falls, prices must fall. So again, in 1978, we did 4 million. 1979, we did 3.8. 1980, we did 3 million. 1981, we did 2.4 million. 1982, we actually did less than 2 million. So in the span of roughly 6 years, demand fell 50%. 50%. But we're not done yet. 1983, we did 2.7. 1984, we did 2.9. These are all in millions. 85, we did 3.2. 86, 3.6. 87, 3.5 million. 88, 3.6. Folks, we're 11 years in. We are not back to the 4 million. Demand is below 1978. For anybody keeping up, GDP is growing, population is growing, but yet demand is below 1978. It's not over. 1989, we did 3.3. 1990, we did 3.2. 1991, we did 3.1. We are going the other direction. We are falling once again. 1992, we did 3.4. 93, we did 3.8. 94, 3.9. 95, 3.9. And finally, in 1996, after 18 years of falling demand, we did 4.2 million, finally breaking the 1978 record. Now, according to the crash pros and doomers who don't understand housing, when you have demand down, prices should fall. Well, from 1978 to 1996, we had one negative home price year, and that was down less than 1%, but it was negative. If you want to look at a home price and median home price in 1970.
So I'm going to stop it there. So Michael, because I want to be clear on the point you're making is that prices held or increased during this time, even though demand remained low, correct?
Yeah, the whole point of this situation, because again, crash bros and doomers have been trying to tell people home prices are going to crash for thousands of different reasons, and they're wrong all the time. The latest one is demand's falling, prices must fall. And that is just not how housing works. There's this thing called price elasticity. There's this thing called switching costs. There's this thing called shelter, which is just past water and food. They don't get it. They just want to crash. They want to sell fear. They want fear. They want clicks because that's how they pay their bills.
Right. And so to your point, listen, in fact, I'm going to share a screen here just to emphasize what you're just saying too. So the doomers, look, and it doesn't even matter which ones you're talking about. You got this guy here, reventure, complete collapse, sell now, landlord panic, end of Airbnb, people are broke, worst ever, condo collapse. Look at bad news travels faster than good. It's always been that way. Bordenaro, he's another one too. Trillions being lost or stolen, not going as planned. Wall Street world, they're robbing you. Everything's doomed. But that's what gets attention, for these guys. And I get
that's how they
that.
pay their bills. Let's be clear. Doomers
Sure.
pay their bills producing fear. I actually call it fear porn. These are porn creators. That's all they're doing. They're tapping into your brain, dumping garbage and making you addicted to porn. It's fear porn. This is how they pay their bills. They're rotten people.
Yeah. And so you actually have a chip on your shoulder with these guys like I do with fake gurus. People that I think, pretend to have experience they don't, that lead people. And I agree. What does these guys have? What experience do they have to tell people that things are going to collapse? They're forming their opinions based on articles that they read, etc. But they know that the doom is what sells. I get it.
Correct.
So, but I was investing during that time. And so where I take exception with you on this is you left out an important metric, and that was the interest rate dropped almost the entire time that you're talking about. So, let me pull up a chart here. Yeah. So look at this one first. Yeah. So
40 years of interest rates drops. Absolutely.
Right. So in fairness, if I'm going to be hypercritical, you took a 54-year span and you cherry picked 18 years, but you made your argument. You did make your argument. Okay. But you had to go back a ways to do it. But there's a reason that, in other words, I'll go with the doomers too. Okay. I'm going to go with the doomers on when demand falls, prices fall. That's in general a fair statement to make, but there's reasons why there is why there is a less demand. And usually less demand right now, it's because the interest rates are high. Interest rates go up, people can't buy, so demand falls just because the whatever, people can't sell it, people can't buy for different reasons, and same thing when interest rates high, that's the problem. When interest rates low, all of a sudden demand goes up because it's affordable, right? We agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the part that was left out of your metric, and so let me grab this. Let me grab something here. I'll take this off my iPad. Where is that thing? Go to advanced here.
You're pretty good at all this sharing stuff.
Oh shit! Just tough stuff.
Trial and error. Trial and error. Yeah.
I cry a lot while I worked on it a long time ago. Finally figured most of the shit out. Anyways, but so here's a chart. This is a mortgage rate, and they vary depending on what your sources are.
Sure.
But actually, here I'll pull this over here. So we can look. Oops, let me put that there. So you look here. You've got 1978, right here. Okay, 1970, you see that. I think you see it, right?
Yeah,
okay,
9.64, yeah.
9.64. Yeah, 9.6. And then you go on down the chart, and then you get to 1982, which we hit a high of 16.04, which when you'd referenced that time, that 18-year period, you made one exception, and it was right at that time that the values fell, correct?
No, values fell in 91. What I said about 1981 and 82 when I paused is transactions fell 50%.
Oh,
From
the transactions fell a little more. Well, either way, it jives though. It corresponds with
higher rates.
Like
Yeah,
in the
of course.
rate.
Of course.
So the thing is I would say the doomers are it's fair to say that when demand falls, prices fall. When demand's higher, prices go up because we're fighting for it. As sellers right now, you know, I bought a property Monday for 325. It shows it's worth 476.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, you know, dump it quickly just because I don't feel particularly good. But I mean, I know I'll make some money. But my point is that all the time that this was going on, you can see my cursor here, I think.
Sure.
See my cursor on the screen? Okay.
I can.
So from your point of starting here, you know, you've got a line here where basically you're saying things went, I'm gonna use a different color. Things went along and then it fell and then kind of recovered. And then mostly it stayed
Mhm.
up or straight line.
Fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
my point is that the reason it's straight line that whole time is that the interest rate was saving it, because from the time it started, it was 9.6, which was actually a low rate. A lot of people don't understand that. That was a low rate. It was coming down from much higher. It jumped up real quick and came back down from 16, which seems like a lot, but if you look at the previous years, not so much.
Mhm.
So all the time that this was coming down, that recovery, even things were becoming more affordable,
Oh, of course.
even though things were tough for all the other reasons you cited. So,
Yeah.
so that's all. I just want to say.
Well, yeah,
that-
I love this. I love the fact that you were in it, right? A lot of the Doomers weren't even born yet. I was a young man at this time, but you are investing in this time. So having your direct experience in the early 80s is a huge gift to the real estate world. Let me actually
No, I
share with
appreciate
you.
that.
Yeah, let me share with you the full 50-year spreadsheet because I have all the data there. It's just tough to share without actually, having it on the screen. So again,
Sure.
what I showed in this particular example was existing home sales in 1978, right? Here's what
Right.
we're looking at. We'll just make this purple for what the heck. for
Right.
shits
No,
and
you were
giggles.
pretty concise. It was a straight line, and I mean, it pretty much stayed below the 4 million, like you said, right?
Yeah, but let's also not forget we have nominal home appreciation here. Again, I source all this data. The complete picture you drew is awesome, right? We have home appreciation here. We have interest rates are down here. Where's my interest rates? 30-year fixed rate interest right here, right? Just like you had 9.64, right? So again,
Right.
interest rates go up. I have that in the data. But what I want people to realize is look at this. Interest rates are going up, less affordable. Transactions are going down, less demand. Home prices up. Up.
Right. Well, but you look at that, go back to where you were, the
Sure.
interest rates had just gone up before that. And they were actually, I think they were a little higher prior to that. I can't remember.
I only have
exactly.
back to 1970. So the
Okay.
interest rates,
Well,
there you go.
either way, you can say they kind of went along here at 7.5. I mean, that's even low. I couldn't even imagine that back then. Because when I started, I started where your purple is, right about, that's when I dropped out of high school. And then,
Right.
so I was dealing with that 13 and 16. I
Yep.
paid 27% interest on the first car that I bought.
Mhm.
But again, things drop from there. If you go to the other end of your matrix there, you've got your graph, you've got, it dropped. I mean, the interest rates dropped 50% from its high, went from
Oh, yeah, of
16%. Yeah. And so even though demand was down, it was becoming more affordable to buy. And I'm just saying that's what offset that.
No, absolutely. Affordability is actually on the chart because I believe most people buy on payment, which AKA equals the affordability index. I actually have done that calculation. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
You go a lot more detailed than I do, but I listen, everybody in general, most people, they're not how much, they're how much a month. When you ask somebody, can you afford this home? They'll say, what's the payment? You know what I mean? You or I'm going to pay cash for everything I buy.
Right.
And I'm going to sell it to somebody that's going to finance it. So I have to put
Of
myself
course, you
in
get
their
the spread.
shoes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So 1981 was the worst year to buy a home based on the affordability scale.
Right.
Without question. And it was like a horrible year. It's the worst year ever, at least since 1970 was 1981.
Right. And you know how everybody's in denial at the very beginning of they jump up and reasonably so, it did go back down. So it did jump up and it came right back down. And so then it was kind of getting back to normal again. But the difference is, and this goes kind of back to where I say the doomers are right a little bit, had this interest rate not be dropping for this almost this entire 18 years, the prices surely would have dropped. because
Because it's
it's the
payment,
interest
yes.
rate that kind of saves. So, so I'll say
So
that, you know, and this is why in general, I agree with them. But I agree, you did make your point. You found a point in history that that is not always the case. Now, I don't use the elasticity comment. You're more of a charts guy. You're more of a data guy. And I know your
Mhm.
story about when you first got started, you heard somebody respected talk and you ran with it and made some money with that. And,
Yep.
you know, where I've already told you, my economy is about, you know, 60-mile circumference around me, you know, for the most part, you know,
Yeah,
or if
and
it's an
that's the
area,
right.
you know,
That's what you're doing is what most people should. Most people should have what I call a buy box. You call it 60 miles, whatever you want. You should know that area of dirt, that
right.
economy better than anybody else. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
the freaking world is doing, what the federal government's doing, what the states do. Maybe it matters what local government's doing. That could matter. But
Ooh,
if you know
sure.
your dirt better than
Yeah.
anybody else, you will win.
Right. I only concern myself with the big stuff, you know, inflation, interest rate, those things are going to affect me, of course.
Mhm.
But then locally, there's things that can save an area that aren't available to another area, all that stuff. Big plant
Yeah.
closes, you know, but all the green projects are probably going to, you know, there's a lot of that stuff's funded. I know guys making money off the government like crazy on some stuff right now that's ridiculous, but that's how it goes. And that's why, you know what, you're a little bit more of a predictor. I don't predict so far out. Like I said, I think I told you when we visited last, I expected interest rates to just stay the same or get higher all through 2024. And, you know, I think this little half point drop, I think that's political. It goes against what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to maintain it till, you know, and so
Yeah.
that's that. And this is why you can't really predict because the government never does. I mean, they're self-serving, most of the people
Oh,
in
yeah.
politics. So they don't do what's right. They can be bought and corrupted. And that's, you know, that's really sad for the country, but that is what it is. And so here we are.
Yeah, no,
But
I love the fact, Tom, that you reached out. Zuber versus the Doomers is an awesome idea. I'm glad we can participate. I love the fact that we both have our points. We're both right on different things. I have no problem admitting where I'm wrong or error. I love the experience that you bring to the
no, that's
table.
why I hit you up. I know you're a straight shooter like I am,
Yeah,
and most people are not. Yeah.
yeah. I do have a question for you. When you look out to 2025, again, I love making predictions. I love trying to play the chessboard. I just have a simple question for you. Do you think the 30-year mortgage, right, cost of capital stays the same basically, gets a little cheaper, or gets a little more expensive in 25? Any thoughts on that?
I, you know what? I'll just say this. The problem is we got two candidates running, and I think if Trump gets elected, 100%, everything's going to be better. Everything's
Okay.
going to be better. I think 100%. The interest rate, if it's going to be able to drop, it's going to be able to drop with him or stay the same. You know,
Okay.
it shouldn't have dropped now. I don't think at all. But
Okay.
because the difference is that you've got one person that wants to create government jobs, which costs us all, and then the other one wants to just drill, baby, drill, you know, and just, tariff and just keep the jobs inside the country. He's been very good about that. And in all honesty, I expected more of a crash prior to Trump going in before, you know,
Mm,
because we had all that quantitative easing and all that other stuff that Obama did. And I can't blame him, but it is the economy wasn't good and
mm.
it was getting worse. And then when Trump came in, surprisingly, you know, the things that he did, I think he gave confidence, but I think there'll be a lot more confidence with business people, and they'll be willing to, I am much more, believe me, I'm pretty confident that we're going to have a new administration and I'm happy for it because I think it's going to be great for everyone. But so that's why I say I can't predict what you're going to predict because I think it totally is dependent on who is running the country. If it's
Yeah,
Trump, I think it'll get better.
I think there's a lot in that. I actually think we're in a buyer's market right now. You talked about a property you bought at 325 worth 476 or something like that. I think right now we're in a buyer's market. I think there's a lot of fear. I think demand's off the table because of the election. I think there's a lot of people holding back capital. It's like, dude, it's 2 months away. I'll just wait. I'm gonna
Sure.
wait until, November 6th or 7th or whenever it is. I think there's a lot to it. Yeah. And it'll be interesting because I do think based on who wins, the economy is different and
Yeah,
different priorities.
and so I tell everybody, listen, you should always invest. I bought 4 houses in the last 6 months, on average, 250 to 325 or 350 was probably a high. I'll make 100 grand on each one of these for sure. But the deal is, you know, I can play it. Good times or bad, horrible presidency, administration, or a good one. I just got to know the rules, and the
Right.
rules are different depending on who's
Correct.
running the country. You know,
No, I
I don't
agree.
think this tax and unrealized gains, that ain't gonna happen. That's just
No.
bullshit, you know. But you know, it's still, you know,
Very
the
cool.
idea of taxing businesses more, I think that's very real, and I don't think
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very
So what do
cool.
you think? What do you think? You
Uh,
like to predict?
I love to predict stuff. I actually hope that interest rates on the 30-year mortgage don't get below 5.8, 5.7. We just got to get some stability in the housing market.
What are
Like,
they today with this half-point drop? What are they today?
they're 6.1, 6.1, 6.2, something like that. So I don't
Yeah.
see much of a drop, maybe a quarter point. I do you know what I fear? This is my biggest fear come post-election. Whoever's in office, if they create a first-time home buyer program where there is 10, 15, $20,000 in free money,
Yeah.
that's a disaster waiting to happen. That'll take
Yeah, well, they're even
scarce.
doing worse than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you know the current one stays, they're trying to give it away to a lot of people that are new to the country, and
Yeah, I don't
so
want any first. I don't think free money fixes anything,
no,
and
it
that
damages
scares me.
everything.
Oh,
No,
I'm afraid of that.
no, you know, they got to let things fail, because then guys like me and you and everybody else watching, we can
Clean
pick
it
up
up.
the
Just
pieces.
clean up the
I got
system.
to
Yeah.
do some of that. I got to do
Yeah.
some of that in 1990, in 1989. Everything
Yep.
was owned by the banks. I picked up
Yeah.
shit all really, really cheap at times.
Yeah.
And I saw
RTC
fourplexes
or
for
something.
600 grand,
Yeah.
sell for 30. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Resolution Trust Corporation or something like that. We
Yeah.
have to have a cleansing. If you do a bad deal, you're supposed to lose money. This
Right.
whole, unlimited upside, no downside, that's not the capitalist system. Let the
Yeah.
let the
Too
bad
big to
deals fail.
fail. Yeah.
I hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that. Well, Tom, you are
I'm
amazing.
with you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep reaching out to me. Help me understand what's happening. I love the fact that somebody calls me when I'm wrong. I appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Hey, flipanythingusa.com. All right, I got my YouTube channel. I get punished terribly when I speak politically on my channel, and I tell you, the YouTube puts a governor on me. My following, it's over 50, but it's just been a flat line ever since I started talking again. So I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm more about making money and with real estate, but I'm like you, I teach people how to make money, and it's a cool thing, and it's wonderful stuff. So, hey, keep up the good work. Glad that you're
Thanks,
such a
Tom.
straight shooter. I really do appreciate you. And
You got it.
we'll see you again. We'll do it sometime soon, I hope.
You got it, bud. Take care. Anytime. Later.